All right, Rob, let's get it started. The Detroit Lions, oh so close to their first ever Super Bowl appearance. They jump out to a huge lead, 24-7 halftime lead over the San Francisco 49ers. But instead of closing it out, they actually become the victims, Rob, of the greatest comeback in the history of the NFC Championship game. They lose 34-31 to the Detroit Lions. And a lot of people are looking at Coach Dan Campbell, Rob. He made a living really since he's been with Detroit, going for it on fourth downs. He's got the most, this season at least, he's got the most where they went for it on 4th and 3 or less in the league. He's got the most conversions too, where they were successful. But he went twice, Rob, in this game instead of kicking field goals, and they failed to get the fourth downs. And then also had a running play, at the end of the game where they ran it at the goal line, which essentially meant they had to do an onside kick. But
he had to burn a timeout.
Onside kick. Yeah, you had to burn the timeout and do the onside kick, which you never get those, in today's NFL. It's just almost impossible. And that's what happened. They didn't get the onside kick, and that was the ball game. But what are your thoughts on the Lions and what Dan Campbell, those calls? Because that's really been the story today.
And, Chris, on Friday I mentioned this. I said Dan Campbell coached like this where he had lost some games. We talked about it before. He's a gambler. He likes to gamble. But I'm going to tell you this. And I said, we'll wait and see. Rob G., I wish we could find the tape. But I said that this guy has done this, and we'll see if it cost the Lions. I said this on Friday. And, Chris, Dan Campbell cost the Lions. I'm going to call him Dan Choke for today.
You think he cost them the game?
I think he cost them the game, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not about, first of all, people are saying, his aggressiveness is who he is. That's why the Lions are who they are, and he can't change what he's done. If that was really the case, Chris, at the end of the first half, he would have gone for the jugular when he was there.
But
what did he do?
To me, that was a smart decision.
It was a smart move, but that's what I'm telling you is that he, in that moment, understood what it meant, where you were in that game, Chris, right? To go for the field goal. Now, here's why I have a problem with him not taking points. You were in the midst of being trounced 27-0. You needed points. Chris,
so you're talking about the 4th and 3 with about 7 minutes left.
No, both of them. There was one right when
the first one, early on, they were trouncing. Remember, they had a chance to go up 17 early.
Right, that's the one I'm talking about. After San Francisco came out, scored, Chris, to make it 24-10. Right? So it's a 2-score game.
Right.
They drive right after that. They could have put 3 points up, and now it's a 3-score game. There's a big difference between, 2-score and 3-score.
In the second half?
It's a huge difference.
And, Rob, with the way they run the ball, and we're running the ball.
Thank you, Chris.
You could have ate up more clock. You start counting possessions.
You count possessions. Right? You say San Francisco's got to score 3 times.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
They can't, not only they have to hold the Lions the whole way and then score 3 times just to beat you. The degree of difficulty is too big. So he didn't go for it the first time, so that tells you that his mindset was different. Then, after they had a chance to go up 3 scores, he passes on that. Now, Chris, with 7 minutes to go, you have a chance to tie the game.
Yep.
You've been shut out 27-0. You have a chance to put points on the board. Chris, tie the game. And then,
I think that changes the momentum. You tie it. San Fran's been rolling. You tie the game. Now it's like
it's anybody's game.
Momentum. Yep.
Right? Brock Purdy could throw a pick 6. They could fumble, Chris. All kinds of things can happen. So when he did all of this, and the Lions' history, trust me, I got texts from football players, former Lions and whatnot, okay, they've been lionized finally, okay. And for this was so cruel to Lions fans because, Chris, 24/7 at the half, people were calling Las Vegas, making their plane reservation. Oh, my God, the Lions are going to the Super Bowl. It was going to take a colossal collapse by the Lions for this not to happen. And Dan Campbell fed into it. And I'm not talking about, people talking about, well, they fumbled the ball, they missed some passes. That's football, Chris. They're going to be fumbles. People are going to drop the ball. We can sit here all day on every single game about a player fumbling and somebody missing a pass. But when you're a coach, in no circumstances, you have to read the game, read the room. You're giving up 27 straight points. You're trying to have a 3-score advantage with the clock ticking. Right. That's where he let them down. That's why I say it was a choke job. It was Dan Campbell in the biggest moment on the biggest stage with the brightest lights. He choked down the game. He failed the Lions. He failed the city. I know people don't want to hear that today. And, oh, look at where they are.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, and I'll get to my point when I disagree.
And I'll say, this is fireable, the performance that he put up. It was
so they
fireable.
Should fire him?
Chris, I'm going to go back to one other thing. One last thing, and then I'll let you go.
Lunacy.
It's just like what we saw last year with Brandon Staley. When they lost a 27-0 lead, just hear me out. Brandon Staley at that point a year ago, Chris, when they were up 27-0 in the playoffs, you would have thought this guy is good to go for years to come. And guess what? Not only did they lose that playoff game, he continued to do that stuff the next season, right? And then they didn't make the playoffs, and now he's out of a job. You can't keep coaching like this. That's all I'm going to tell you.
No way Dan Campbell should be fired. That is ridiculous. I mean, he brought this team, you say let Lions fans down. Well, they wouldn't even be here without Dan Campbell. That dude led them to the first NFC Championship game in 33 years, 32 years. And you want to fire him? Heck no. 12-5. They haven't had a record that good since they went to the last conference championship in 1991.
You're right. They won 11-6.
They went 12,
4
but
years
still,
ago.
that ain't 12-5, and that ain't getting to the conference championship. I think he made mistakes. I think the three things we talked about, running it at the end of the game on the goal line. Look, I think they weren't going to win that game at that point, but still, it was a bad. But it took away any chance really that you had of winning it. I agree with both of the field goals that he should have just taken the points. You and I have talked about that before. The playoffs is different, and he definitely should have went for the tie.
How do you not go for a tie in that?
There's a lot of time left. You would have momentum. Now, San Francisco ran down and scored on the next possession. But still, it's still a different game. I personally think the Niners were the better team. They came out sleepwalking. The Lions jumped on them. But I think regardless of what Dan Campbell would have done, I think the Niners would have won that game. Of course, we don't know. But I think they would have won it anyway because they were the better team and they started balling out in the second half. But I'm with you in saying he made the wrong moves. I'm with you in saying he has got to find that happy medium between going for it on fourth downs, because that's been successful for them. It's worked a lot, but also you've got to settle down and sometimes take the points. Rob, it was the same thing against Dallas. Now, that was a regular season game.
That cost them that game.
But when he went for two, and they're freaking at the 7-yard line. After the penalties, he goes for two instead of kicking the extra point. So I'm with you, but there's no way that I am even contemplating firing Dan Campbell after that. Dan
Campbell let the 49ers off the hook, and he also, Chris, he said this to his players after the game, and he's spot on. This might have been our only chance, and this was the Lions' chance. If you think the Lions are going back to the NFC Championship game or going to be on the cusp of a Super Bowl, up 24-7 on the road again, you're kidding yourselves.
Well, they may not be up 24-7.
I'm just saying.
I don't know that they'll get there next year. I'm just saying.
It is a tough road when you're there, and you can't let that go by. You just can't, because you have to read the situation, and what he didn't do, Chris, was the momentum factor, just what you were talking about. Like they gave up 27 straight points.
Yep.
You have to stop the bleeding. Take the field goals. What are you doing? What are you trying to prove in this situation? I thought he choked in a big spot, and the Lions will haunt them. This is one of the biggest collapses in NFC.
Well, it's the biggest NFC,
NFC,
biggest comeback, or what would the opposite be of the comeback? Giveaway, whatever, in the NFC title game history. So it's huge. Only place I disagree with you on is that I don't think it cost them the game because I think they were going to lose anyway. And two, there's no way I think he should be fired. All right, 877-99 on Fox. Your thoughts? Rob says Dan Campbell should be axed after what he did with the fourth downs and the running play and all his boneheaded calls in that game. I say no way, although he did make mistakes. Should he be fired? Your thoughts?
All right, let's kick it off with Aaron in Virginia. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Aaron?
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's up? Happy Magic City Monday.
Yes, sir. Rob, I agree with you. I think you're spot on with the Dan Staley take. I don't think he should be fired. I think he'll be given some time to learn from his mistakes. The fact that he said he didn't regret his decisions on fourth down in the press conference was a little bit concerning to me. But I saw some great offensive play calling from the OC yesterday, and I thought all of that was just overridden by the bad fourth down decisions. And one more thing,
they were moving the ball. That's the thing. You can't look and go
they got a great offense.
Chris, they moved the ball. They were in position. Okay, they didn't get in the end zone, but you got to get points.
The interesting thing will be, you brought up the OC.
He's going to get a job somewhere. He'll be gone. Chris, and that's the other thing about holding this team together. You'll start missing pieces.
We'll certainly see.
No doubt. Marquise.
If they fall apart next year, Rob, if Ben Johnson leaves and they fall apart, then you got a whole nother situation up there.
Marquise in Detroit, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up?
Hey, Rob. Live over by 7 Mile where the barbershop is.
Oh, appreciate that. What's up, buddy?
I think the only white guy that gets my haircut there, but I love it.
It's all good, man. We appreciate the business.
Yeah, love Chris Broussard too. Have to say that.
Thank you, man.
I have to say that Dan Campbell, if you're from Detroit, and you have that power of Detroit, the hardworking guy. Do you want your defense out there, or do you want your offense out there? I feel like at some point Dan Campbell gets it so confused with who should be out there, and that messes with their wins and loss totals. It impacted yesterday. Love to hear what you have to say. And
well, what do you mean? I don't understand.
You mean
their offense
he's talking
is
about
the strength of their team, not the defense. I'm not sure what you're saying.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
The offense is the strength of the team.
The secondary gets cut to shreds. Up front, they're good, Chris, but not the secondary.
Right.
Thanks for the call.
I feel like Dan Campbell coaches to the crowd, which can be a problem. When you have someone out there, the team out there, and the defense is all pumped up, if you send them out there and they get the stop, that's one thing. If you send the offense out there and they don't get the first down, it's a total buzzkill.
All right. Thanks for the call. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
When you miss out on fourth downs, it
kills you.
Go for it. Yeah, it definitely shifts momentum.
Dre in Michigan, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Dre?
Them two dudes. What's going on, fellas?
What's happening?
What's up, man?
Not much. Just trying to lick my wounds, trying to feel better about myself after that loss yesterday.
Oh.
But I'm I agree with Rob, man. Dan Campbell cost us this game. And I was trying to tell some, as Shannon Sharp say something, he said, you never accepting a win, but you wouldn't accept a loss. And I've been complaining all year about you going for these fourth downs. I said, it's going to cost us.
Yep.
It's going to cost us. No, man, he aggressive, man. He's showing his players he believes in. I said, it's not about that. I said, because one day it's going to cost. And I said, I compared it to, it's like that. You ever grow with somebody that was always down to fight, but the problem is they always down to fight. Sometimes we don't have to fight. Let's fight when it's necessary.
Right.
No,
that's what Dan Campbell is.
That's the thing.
That is.
Sometimes it's good to go for it. Other times, man, take the three. People, he's obviously the greatest example, Rob. But some of these coaches act like 3 points isn't valuable anymore.
They are
That's
valuable.
ridiculous.
We've talked about
Absolutely.
it. Brandon Staley, Chris, was that. That's why he's not.
Yeah.
That's why he's not in the league anymore. Marty in Kentucky, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Marty?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing this Magic City Monday?
Doing good,
What's up, Marty? We're good.
I will say that Dan Campbell made a mistake. I feel like if he was going to play that style, he should have played it every time. Before the half, should have went for it. But once you choose to not go for it, you decide, okay, we're going to play like we got a lead. We're going to keep momentum. We're going to make a 3-score game. You do that the next time. It's later in the game. It makes even more sense. Then when San Fran's on a run and you got a chance to tie the game, you can stop momentum. So I feel like he should have committed to one or the other, and he was wishy-washy, and it's something he can learn from. But I don't think it's a fireable offense. He's done too much good,
right?
And hopefully he learns from this, and he gets in his spot next time.
Marty,
I'm with you there.
I hear you, Marty, but remember how Brandon Staley faced what he did, and the next year he was out of the league after 1 year.
But
after
he never had the success either, Rob, that Campbell's had.
No, but I'm just saying he didn't learn from it. The next year,
well, he
didn't learn from it.
But he wasn't as successful as far as making the team win, nor as far as even his fourth down conversion.
But I'm saying,
like, Campbell has had a lot of success with the fourth down.
But they were in a playoff game
more.
up 27-0. That was supposed to be his move, and it didn't happen. Andre, real quick, squeeze you in. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. I know, Dre, you picked the Lions in this game, right?
Yes, thanks for taking the call. Voice a little bit raspy, but I'm going to keep going. Listen, this game hurt to see the Lions be right there. It's not just that you lose, it's how you lose. And for it to be right there on their fingertips, Chris, I agree with you, not a fireable offense. However, it felt like Miami Dolphins in 1983, Dan Marino's second year. You make it to the Super Bowl, you feel like you have all the time in the world ahead of you,
true.
And you're certainly going to make it back.
Nope.
As Dan Campbell said, I appreciate him fessing up in the press conference. These opportunities you don't always get back. And so for that reason, the first fourth down wasn't on Campbell. That was on Reynolds. You know, he had two huge drops. And then
but drops happen in games. I get that. I mean, we understand that. The fumble. People fumble in games. That was a big turning point too, Chris. You get the ball.
That's
those
fine.
happen.
I don't think
those
he cost
happen.
them the game, but they were bad decisions.
Right.
No doubt about it.